So, welcome to the More Life Podcast, where we're going to be talking about everything about life to give you more life. So, we're going to start by introducing each other. Kyle, who the fuck are you? Why are you here? I'm Jack's twin, Kyle Ritchie. And so, owner of More Life Coaching, future multimillionaire, and Bosh! The reason that we're doing this podcast, the reason that I'm on it, right, is... Oh, fuck. Do I start again? Keep fucking going, mate. So I'll fucking start. You just ask me who I am. So I'm Jack, Kyle's big brother. Basically owner of More Life Clinic. I fix people 7 days a week. That is what I do for a living at the moment. Also a future multi-millionaire. But for good reason. I'm going to help change as many lives as I can in the process. And that is the whole point of the More Life podcast. It's going to give us a chance and opportunity to spread our knowledge and wisdom that we've acquired over the years of being just wisdom keepers, listen to podcasts, all this kind of stuff. And as we go along our journey, we'll continue to spread awareness and knowledge around health, around perspective, wisdom, everything you need to optimize all areas of your life. We don't proclaim to be anything special. We're two little fucking guys from a small village in the middle of fucking nowhere, but we're pretty wise and we try to be quite to the point. So throughout this podcast, there shouldn't be a lot of shit spoken unless it is to make you laugh. So yeah, Kyle, who are you? Owner of More Life Coaching, future multi-millionaire, as Jack's just claimed to be as well. With the coaching, it's not just PT. I don't just PT people to get biceps and shoulder veins. There's an all-round approach to really helping people develop more of a mindset perspective on life. There's three main pillars. My logo is a little brain, strength symbol. There's a little eye on top. I'm not going to go into that in too much detail, but the eye pretty much is all to do with self-awareness, perspective, your vision. The strength symbol is about having a strong belief, having a strong routine, having a strong body, strong mind. And the brain is all about how you train your brain from seeking pleasure, neuroplasticity, actually retrain your brain, giving yourself a chance to live a different life through training your brain in different ways. So right now you might be addicted to porn and eating biscuits, but you can retrain your brain to wake up and have a cold shower and go a run in the cold, or wake up and do a hard workout and not just seek pleasure and comfort on a daily basis. So yeah, they're the kind of three main pillars of my coaching business. It's not just training, nutrition, lifestyle, as most coaches would be, because I believe there's a lot more to it. And I believe there needs to be a deeper approach for people to actually make permanent changes rather than just this basic fucking eat chicken and rice, go to the gym 5 days a week. What happens to the 23 hours outside the gym? That's what I look at. That's what I really dig into with clients. And that is the purpose of More Life Coaching, to give you permanent changes to your life and create a long-lasting change to your life. And when it comes to actually improving your life, there's so many little areas you need to work on. But one of the biggest things you need to think about is discipline. Do I have the discipline to persist with the things I want to grow or get better at? And if you don't, you need to understand why. So a big part of what we'll talk about today is, are you a victim? Are you watching this a fucking victim? You need to be so honest with yourself. And if you're honest, that is the only way you can move forward. Honesty is the best policy. You've heard that. But actually applying it and starting to act with honesty is one of the biggest things. Did you know that watching porn and having a wank every fucking day is just as bad as eating a cookie for your discipline? I'd raise the point though. Are you actually aware that you're a victim? Is your self-awareness high enough to be aware that you're actually a victim? Or do you float through life and it's everyone else's fault? You've got nothing, you don't do anything wrong. It's everyone else's fault, and it's not your fault that you're in the position you're in. You might not be aware of it. So we're going to speak about self-awareness, and I think that's going to be the first thing we're going to really dig into right now. Kyle, what would you say a victim is? I'd say a victim is someone that can't take complete ownership, blames every single person other than themselves. It's their reason that I'm fat. It's their reason that I don't feel happy. Not their reason. It's their fault that I'm fat. It's their fault that I'm not happy. It's their fault that I don't make money. It's their fault that I've got a life I don't fucking love. So a victim what? Blames people. Blames people all the time. They can't take complete ownership. Another thing that a victim
Blames
does.
people, just people.
People, scenarios, situations. It's anyone else's fault but theirs. Another thing that victims do, right, is they're too focused on the negatives. They're too focused on... A victim will wake up and their mood will be dictated by how shit the weather is outside. And that will give them the right inside them. They'll give them a deep reason to feel shit and have a shit day. So they'll also complain all the time. They're going to complain, they're going to focus on the negatives. And they're going to also, right, if I come to that victim and I say, hello victim, why have you got a gut and why can you not see your toes? They're going to justify that reason. Oh, I don't know, I love sugar. Or, oh, I don't know, I've had a really hard life, so I just...
Imagine going for a piss in the morning, looking down, you can't even see your fucking cock when you're pissing. That's not good. That is not good.
Like, that's a definition of a victim. See if you can't see your wee willy when you're doing a pee in the morning because of your gut. And you can't
and
even
if you're
take responsibility.
if you're a woman, you can't reach round to wipe your fud after you piss. That's also not fucking good.
That's
How have you not got the mobility in your fucking shoulder to do that?
That's a male and female
Fucking
version of
hell.
victims. That's
Honestly,
fucking
guys.
crazy. But
Anyone that we are talking directly to right now, sort yourself out. Get in touch with us.
and it's not all your fault, but it kind of is. Like,
Everyone has a choice.
Everyone has a fucking
We were
choice.
speaking before this podcast how honest are we going to be throughout the podcast, and let's just be 100% honest. Me and Kale used to wake up, and before the morning shit we had in the morning, we used to smoke a joint and a coffee out our back garden. You know how riddled with anxiety you need to be to fucking smoke a joint before you shite in the morning? That's like fucking mental.
even at that, right? Let's not even like glorify. It wasn't a freshly rolled joint. This was a half-smoked joint from the night before when we'd smoked weed to get so stoned we could just
Crazy.
fall asleep. So when we're sitting saying this shit, we've been there. We've been controlled by vices. We've been controlled by anxiety. And most importantly, we've not been aware. An analogy I want to give you, right, for being aware, right, and having anxiety control your life, stress control your life, right? You wake up in the morning, little simple victim, right? Anxiety, the cover of anxiety is thrown over your head from behind because you're not aware. If you're aware, right, what you can do is you can take a step to the side, look around, and you can see that tool coming, that cover of anxiety, dodge the cover, and that awareness allows you not to be controlled. But if you're not aware, you wake up and you're consumed. That towel is thrown over your head, the cover is thrown over your head. With zero awareness, you're controlled all the time.
But Kyle, how can I become self-aware? You're chatting all these things thinking you're a wise cunt. Like, what the fuck does this mean to me that has no self-awareness? What can I do today to become more self-aware and act on that self-awareness? How the fuck I don't know what you're talking about, mate.
It all comes from questioning yourself. It all comes from reflection, in my opinion. The first step towards being aware is self-reflection. Because if you can't ask yourself the question, that's the problem. Because you avoid it. Every single person that isn't aware avoids that question, avoids looking at themselves and reflecting on their own behaviour, on their own situation, why they're not happy, how they could be happy, what's caused it. They just don't reflect. So I'd say the first step towards fucking becoming more aware, towards changing that problem of being a victim and raising self-awareness as a whole is reflection. If you can't self-reflect, if you can't ask yourself the question, that's where the lack of awareness lies.
Bring it into a bit of context for people to understand. Take the avatar that wakes up, has a 9-to-5 job, goes to the gym but doesn't have crazy structure, snacks on a daily basis, might dabble in a bit of masturbation, not the best disciplined when it comes down to what someone like that can do, which is quite a lot of fucking people. Like, I used to be one of those people. So I'm speaking from personal experience, having been an emotionally controlled human being that doesn't really have crazy direction in his life, to I'm a pretty driven person now. I know where I'm going to be in the next 5 years unless something horrible happens. I've got a kind of 5-year plan that I'm looking to stick to and build on. When it comes to putting it into context for people to understand, it's like, you need to have goals. You need to have things that you're working towards. So if you're a little normal 9-to-5 guy that's going around doing his thing and you want to get in better shape, well, self-reflection, as Kyle said, becoming aware and reflecting on what you've ate that day or that week to then start to refine and improve on those things. Because a lot of people, you need to reflect on what you're doing to then become aware of what you're doing and then take control. So it's like you look back on the week before, and you're like, fuck, every day I actually scrammed a full bag of cookies. And then you look in the mirror in the morning, pure bedhead, pure stinky morning breath, big chubby fucking belly.
What's the result of asking yourself that question? You're now aware that you've done it.
Legit.
Whereas if you avoid asking yourself that question, you're never aware. You're never aware of the fact that you've done that, right? And give you another analogy or another scenario where self-awareness can really, really help. So, say you're the victim. Say you're the person that can't see his willy, okay? Or you're the... What? Or you're the lovely lady, right? That can't wipe her fud because you're struggling to get
Actually,
in.
imagine that.
You'd use a towel like this, front to back. Right, so say you're that person, right? If you've got the impulsive action where you walk into a kitchen, right, and the bag of fucking chocolates are shouting out, eat me, right? That impulsive behaviour to go and fucking inhale it, right? You probably don't even chew it. You probably just swallow the chocolate.
An animal. Like a fucking
like
monster.
An animal, like a fucking, like a monster, right? Like the chocolate monster, right? Say you're that person. That impulsive behaviour there's something needs to change, right? Between having that impulsive thought, that impulsive urge to fucking do it, and actually doing it, right? Being more aware, ask yourself the question, reflecting allows you to put a conscious thought between that impulsive behaviour that you're usually controlled by and actually doing the thing, right? So, say you've got an urge to eat chocolate, but you're aware. You're going to go, fuck, I want to eat chocolate right now, and that's my impulsive behaviour.
But Kyle, the chocolate tastes so good.
But that conscious thought at least allows you to question yourself, right? And see if you question yourself, right? And this is what happened, right? And I've had this with quite a lot of clients. Some people, right, that question isn't enough. They don't, and we'll dig into this in a wee second because we can ramble on about this, but that conscious thought in between wanting to do it and doing it sometimes isn't enough, right? For a lot of people it will be enough because they'll stop themselves and go, fuck, I shouldn't do that. My purpose is stronger than my pleasure, the pleasure that I'm going to get from this, right? Leading on to why that conscious thought will not work is a lack of self-respect. Jack, outline someone that's not got a lot of respect for themselves. Someone that's got a lack of disrespect. What would they wake up in the morning and do?
They'll wake up and they'll know what they need to do to get to where they want to be, but they will not do those things. A lot of the right decisions that people know they need to make is ultimately going to be the harder decision out of the two. And if you're not aware of the emotional reaction that we all have, survival instinct, fight or flight, avoid discomfort, seek comfort, avoid danger. If you're not aware of that simple concept of your emotional response to stress, any stressor, any fucking stressor, you get that little urge to eat a cookie. It's harder to not eat that cookie than eat that cookie. So it's like, you might not even realize you don't have a lot of self-respect. But that reflection, becoming more aware of your actions and what it's actually doing to align with your goals. If your actions aren't aligning with your goals, that is the lack of self-respect that is apparent enough for you to then improve your actions.
But back to my fucking question.
People don't have goals though. People don't have goals. I speak to clients on a daily basis. I ask them, what's your plans? I spoke to a client the other week there, and literally what he said to me, I said, so what's your goal in the next 10, 20 years? Like, obviously, not a lot of people fucking map out their life 10, 20 years, but I was like, where do you want to be in 10 years? And he literally said to me, if I've paid off my mortgage and I've got enough money to go on a holiday a year, then I'll be chilling. I'll be happy. That is so class. I fucking love that. I think that's so class that they have such a simple way of looking at life that is enough for them. Because that's the crazy thing, perspective. Like, minding your aspirations, a lot of people would be like, calm the fuck down, you don't need that.
Yeah.
That's things like, we say multi-millionaire at the start. We're not money orientated, we're freedom orientated.
Facts.
The money is what will allow us the freedom to do whatever the fuck we want. And a lot of, I feel, that comes from is your childhood. So growing up, we used to literally grow up and we went out into the town with our friends running about with fivers, tenors, £20 notes. We had a couple of pounds between us. Pound fucking coins.
Thank you, Mum, for that.
Yeah, so understanding the kind
Love
of...
you, Mum.
Yeah, it allowed us to understand the value of money. And I feel like that's why we're quite hungry for that financial freedom, because of what we kind of came from. And we didn't get dragged up and had to eat our own shite for breakfast. Like, that's not what happened. We went on a holiday near enough every year. So pretty privileged little fucking cunts. But when it comes to understanding the value of money, we weren't given everything financially. So I feel like a lot of the drive to be financially successful comes from that. But ultimately, I lost my train of thought and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about now.
No, good point that you made, right? So happiness is subjective. So when you're speaking with that client that's content by paying off his mortgage and going out one holiday a year, like, I don't want this podcast to make people fucking feel like, oh my god, these wee fucking twins, I'm huge, right? But these wee twins want to be multimillionaires and they fucking think they're better than me because they're gonna make a lot of money. Da, da, da. Like, happiness is subjective. So if you don't want to be a multimillionaire, there's no pressure to be like that, right? But if freedom is something you want, make enough money to get by, make enough money to pay the bills, go on holidays, eat what food you kind of want. If that's enough for you, 100%, take that happiness. You've got one life. Enjoy it. Happiness is completely subjective. It's not based on your Andrew Tate fucking making young men feel like if you're not a millionaire, you're a fucking failure, or you need to walk into fucking Nando's and every cunt stands up and looks at you like you're a fucking king. Like, that is not...
They do that.
What I know, like, it's crazy. We'll be walking crazy. But happiness is subjective. So, regarding what Jack said there, it's an absolute valid point. Like, if you've got an aspiration in life that isn't out there and really, really crazy, but it allows you to be happy and content, run with it. Fucking enjoy your fucking life. You've got what fact, by the way, you might not know this, you probably will. You're going to die at some point. Okay, you're not going to be here at some point. So
within the next 100 years, you'll be fucking pan-breed. Everything you will have done will not have mattered at all.
Might be a slight memory for 10 years and then cunts will not remember you at all. So anything that you want to do in life, anything that will make you truly happy, fucking do it. Okay, because you will not exist in about 80 years. Depends who's watching us here. Depends if you go back in time, do a madness, but you probably won't be anything. You'll be an absolute fucking nothing, just like the rest of us. Another little statistic ticked off the list, dead. Okay, so yeah, happiness is subjective. You do not need to have millions of pounds to be happy. If money doesn't make you happy, but spending time with family does, if like having freedom, you don't really give a fuck about that, but you're content having a little house, having a nice little car that's not, I mean, if you want a rusty Corsa, have that, but what I'm trying to say
but
is,
that's maybe not what makes people happy. You need to
Exactly.
refine that, like the happiness, it's fucking mental, because you might have things right now in your life that makes you happy, but if you improved your levels of self-awareness, self-respect, how much you actually value yourself and your time, the things that make you happy will probably change. The things that make you happy now, a wee cup of tea, a wee coffee before bed, a wee fucking cookie, that's class. That actually is so class that makes you feel happy now. But you develop yourself, whether that's in the gym, your mindset, etc. And I asked you, once you've developed yourself over the course of 3, 6, 12 months, a couple years, the things that make you happy will have probably changed. Everyone thinks from the level they're at now, and that's something that I've really tried to gain a lot of perspective on from different podcasts and millionaire, billionaire people that I speak to. You need to almost feel as though you're an imposter in your own body if you're trying to become someone you're not right now. So for example, myself, I'm trying to scale my business to 6 figures and work around the world and work with world-class athletes, etc., etc. There'll be a period of time that it will not feel like I'm meant to do it, because it's never who I have been initially. So there's a feeling of like discomfort that's like, fuck, is this actually for me? Of course it fucking is. We can literally do whatever we want. It's about the limiting beliefs that we put on ourselves. And that brings us on to the next topic about limiting beliefs. There's so many things that you will limit yourself to in terms of what you believe in based on who you are now. You can't think like that. Like, people think, you don't go into the gym on your first day and think, I'm going to fucking rip 200 kilo off the ground. But if you put in a consistent plan over the next however long it takes, based on your genetic fucking layout, you're going to smash 200 kilo and probably surpass that after a period of time. And you'll look back and go, fucking hell, I remember a time where I could never even fathom being able to lift any amount of weight.
Well, going back to you saying about feeling like an imposter, right? You don't feel like you can be that person. You feel like you're impersonating someone and it's not actually you. That is something that for years I could not get my head around. Like, I could not understand, how can I be someone that has even just tattoos, or how can I be that person? Like, I was really like fucking up my head. Like, how do I do that? But it's a real thing that you can reevaluate yourself as anyone you want to be. Like, genuinely, if you want to right now, you can reevaluate yourself as that new person and go forward as that new person right now. It doesn't matter. And I think a big part of why I didn't believe I could was my environment and the people around me that couldn't do that. When they couldn't do that, it didn't give me the belief that I could. So you change your hairstyle, everyone's looking at you like you've got a bit of shit in your face. Recently, I went from looking homeless to having a little nice quiff, and I went into the gym the first day with a new haircut, and everyone's like genuinely looking at me as if I've got dog shit smeared all over my face. And I think it's because people aren't used to change. They're not actually, it's not comfortable for people to reevaluate themselves and become a new version of themselves. So there's this lack of belief that you can do that. And it's almost not real. It's almost like you cannot be a new person for most people. Obviously, people that have done it, I've done it, Jack's done it, like, we know it's real. So we know if tomorrow I want to be someone with a fucking Mike Tyson tattoo, I can do that and I can just be that person going forward. But most people don't even have that belief that it's even possible to reevaluate yourself. And it's a chance you need to give yourself, because if right now you're not happy with who you are and you can't give yourself the chance to reevaluate yourself as someone different, you're always going to be who you are right now. You're never going to be that new person. So you need to have that belief that it's possible to even fucking do that.
In order to change, you need to seek discomfort. Discomfort needs to be a part of your daily, weekly life. You cannot change and improve anything without having to endure discomfort. It's an actual fucking fact. And it's like, then, exactly, it's complete fact.
Yeah.
Anything you need to do to change and improve yourself will involve enduring discomfort and stress. That stress will then allow you to grow, because any stress you put on your body, you adapt to. There's this concept I push to all my clients, probably the most important concept that will allow you to be aware of what you're actually doing to your body and why it can't do certain things. I have clients come in, right, and they come for a session. They expect in that session all their tension to be cleared. They'll be able to touch their toes, fucking all this and that. But when it comes to that, they go back into their daily life the day after or whatever, and they're sitting in that seated position all day. What they're exposing their body to is not much out with those daily movements of their job, bending over, reaching up to grab something from the fucking cupboard, probably a cookie. And then they're wondering why they're pulling their back out, lifting their kid up, or reaching down and pulling shopping out the car. You need to be so aware of what you expose your body to, not just in a physical sense, but in whatever other sense I'm trying to say. You think about the stress that you would put on your body to work out every day or every week consistently over time. Your body will then adapt to that exposed stress and get stronger.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. Your mind is a muscle that can be exposed to stress and then adapt to become bigger and stronger and deal with more things. And it's like, if you can increase your load capacity in the gym, which means like the amount of load you can handle, your body can handle in the gym, you can increase your load capacity, the load capacity of your mind. You can increase the load capacity of your mind by exposing it to more stress.
Facts. But it needs to be out with the day-to-day shit that you do. You can't just read more books and you're putting yourself under enough stress to get better reading books. It needs to be, read this book that you can't fucking understand. You need to really try hard to understand it, that type of thing. Another, a plain example as well, right? I can roll back and press 50 kilo dumbbells on bench press. If Jack tried to do that, he would fucking drop them on his face and his wee arms would fucking snap off his body. So
I could probably kick you square in the head.
Do you know why though, right?
Kill you.
Yeah,
probably
Jack could throw a head kick. If I tried to do it, I'd pull my fanny. So it's all, when he's saying exposure and adaptation, it's so true. Like, for example as well, right? You go to the gym, deadlift 200 kilo, and you pick up a baby. It's like thin air. Do you know what I mean, right? But if you're someone that, wakes up, has a wank, doesn't do any stretching, never looks at the gym as an opportunity to actually get stronger, and you don't even go, picking up a baby might be a task. So exposure and adaptation, like Jack just mentioned, completely valid and completely something people should be more aware of. But I want to go back to the limiting beliefs and why we have them, right? Because you might be like, limiting belief, I don't believe there's anything such as a limiting belief, but your belief system currently, your current belief system limits you, right? And you might say it's the same thing, but in my opinion, it's not. If you reevaluate, say for example, right, you don't believe it's possible to make £1 million a week, and you go out to Dubai and there's people printing fucking money every day making £1 million a minute, and these cunts are trillionaires, you're then going to believe it's possible. So your belief system will then change, allowing you to then believe that £1 million a minute's possible, £1 million a week's possible, whereas your belief system before, when you worked in Morrison's and you were surrounded by people making £9 an hour, everyone spoke about not being able to afford a McDonald's Big Mac and they got like a small fries instead. Like, that belief system there didn't allow you to believe that. So it's not really about limiting beliefs, in my opinion. It's about adopting a new belief system by changing your environment and what you're exposed to, right? What Jack just spoke about. You expose yourself to that. You then adapt to that level of exposure based on the new environment, based on the new things that you're taking in, the new things that your brain can actually train itself based on, rather than just being stuck in this current belief system. It doesn't allow you to believe X, Y, and Z. And that's where reevaluating yourself comes into, because if you're someone that only works part-time stacking shelves, what gives you the right? How can you reevaluate yourself as someone that can go to Dubai and have a conversation with a multimillionaire? You need to reevaluate yourself, and that's where that comes back into it. Another thing that I wanted to speak about, right? What the fuck were you talking about there?
Stop rambling shit, mate.
Nah, I wasn't.
Hurry up. I want to say something.
When Jack said about as well exposing your mind to new things, right? To you, running 10 businesses would make your arse collapse and shit fall out your arse and you'd probably die, right? To a multi-billionaire fucking business owner that owns 10 businesses, that's his day-to-day tasks, right? So for him to develop and build a stronger mind, he would need to take on maybe 5 more businesses, or maybe to do like more. For you, you might just need to take on 1 business. So it's all based on where you're at right now. That exposure and adaptation is based on where you're at right now, who you are, because something that it's an illusion. Like, see something being hard, it's a complete illusion, right? To you, it's hard. To someone, it's like as hard as wiping their fucking bumhole. So
people might not even realize like what, if they have limiting beliefs. People, when we're talking about limiting beliefs, a lot of people will listen to this and go, the fuck are you even talking about? People have limiting beliefs without even knowing it. Look at your environment. Who are you around? Do you listen to the people that tell you what you can and can't do? Do you listen to other people's limits and how much they can achieve and apply it to you? Because I know a lot of people that do that. I know a lot of people that base their capabilities and their kind of goals on the people that they hang around with. And that's why it's so important to understand that your environment is so much stronger and always will be stronger than your willpower. Doesn't matter how much you want to do something, who you're around will typically dictate ultimately what you end up doing. For example, when I used to smoke a lot of weed, I was like, cool, I'm going to lay off it today or whatever. Not even like that. Not like I've got a fucking addiction, but there was times where I just wanted to get shit done and not smoke or whatever. But if one of my boys messaged me and said, oh, do you want to go to the gym and smoke one? Or do you want, like, I can jump round and we play some fucking Fortnite. That's it. That's shit I used to do. I would do that over the tasks I wanted to complete that day based on the environment of my friends, like creating that little kind of scapegoat of not doing the things I want to do. So you need to really think about limiting beliefs. Like, you might hear that and go like, what the fuck are they talking about? But think about what you believe you can do. What do you actually believe you can achieve? And then what do you want to achieve? If you feel that you believe you can achieve so much and you're only doing so little, ask yourself why. Is it the people you're around? Are you listening to the people around you and allowing that to then limit how much you believe you can actually do or how much you're actually doing? Because that's a crazy thing. You might actually be so aware of so many things you can do, but because of the people you're around, you just won't do it. And then 10, 20 years goes down the line, you're depressed as fuck. Like, you actually are. There's so many clients that come into me, 30, 40, 50. I speak to them about things like that, and they say, oh, I wish I was started when I was your age, doing it, this and that, and still using their age as an excuse not to do things. I know someone, Dave Jenkins from Sports Therapy Scotland, I think he's like 50 something now, 53. He started being a sports therapist when he was 41. I think he was a PT in a prison or something before that. And now he's got one of the most established, well-known clinics in Scotland. Deals with all the actors that come into the hydro to do their thing and all that kind of stuff. Such a well-connected person. And he started that profession when he was 41. What excuse have you got? You've not fucking got one. The only excuse is you've not got an excuse. That's the whole point. You don't have fucking one excuse.
100%. And his limiting beliefs, for example, I'm not too sure who this guy is, but seems like a legend by the sounds of it. He could have said to himself, he could have attached himself to who he was in the moment. Sorry, block nose. He could have attached himself to who he was in the
moment. Blow your fucking nose, mate.
Sorry, mate. It's fucking winter.
First podcast, you got a block fucking nose, mate.
Yeah,
I can smell it from here.
You've got a tampon
I can smell it from here, you fucking
rat. So he could have attached himself to who he was in the moment, right? And the limiting beliefs would have been created by that. So I'm 41, fucking hell, I could have started it earlier. Like you right now, for example, us, let's speak about me and Jack, because we've not done that already. we could have thought, right? We're from a place called Cardress, a little tiny fucking fuck off village. Farmers everywhere, right? Farmer town, fucking pikey town.
I'm sure there's actually paedophiles in the village.
Shh, Bradley, don't brand us as a fucking
No, but it's nothing to do
pair of
with
boys
us.
that come from pedo village.
It's nothing
mate.
to do with
not-
us.
Shh, he's talking shit. Don't listen to him. My boy Bradley though says I'm from Pikey Town, right? He says I'm a Pikey, but we're from a little fucking tiny village.
Horses
right?
walking about the streets.
Listen, but who are we, right? Who are we to become multimillionaires? If you think about it, right? So if we were to attach ourselves to who we are, who we've came from,
We're not.
We came from a household.
We're not going to be millionaires.
We've came from a household.
We come from
right,
Cardress.
of making literally £20,000 maybe max, right? And that's combined, right? Mum and dad, right? Our stepmom and stepdad and mum. Who are we to become that? Who are we to become multimillionaires? Who are we to think that we can grow businesses to 6 figures, blah, blah, blah? We've never seen that amount of money in our lives. If we were to attach ourselves to where we came from, right? That's where the limiting beliefs are formed, right? But there's a thing called networking. We've met boys that are making 100 grand a month. That then makes us feel like we're building the businesses to make 6 figures a year. That makes us feel like that's fucking more than possible, right? And that's where the new belief system's adopted. So, again, speaking about Davey Boy, you're speaking about him. If he was to attach himself to who he was in that moment, limiting beliefs would be formed. That belief system would not allow him to believe that he could actually do more, which would limit him in life, okay? And that's what we're speaking about. That's why they are called limiting beliefs, because your current belief system doesn't allow you that you can achieve more. Probably more so because you're attaching yourself to who you are now and not allowing yourself to reevaluate yourself, as we spoke about previously in the past like fucking 20 minutes. So
when it comes to being a victim, limiting beliefs, there's not really any point in knowing any of this unless you have a life that you want to improve. So unless you're listening to this like, right, I actually do. I want to be in a better position than I am now. I've got goals that I want to achieve that I can see as possible, but I just don't have the mindset. I don't have the fucking belief. I don't have the confidence, the self-esteem. I had a client come in the other day and we're talking about like the content we do. And it's very lit. We're just starting, right? Wait until I'll keep that a secret what we're going to be doing. But my client was saying, I could never do what you're doing, like speaking in front of the thing. And he literally just openly said, like, I'm just not secure enough. Like, I'm not got enough self confidence. I'm too self-conscious to do that. And that will not just come from maybe he isn't secure. Maybe he actually is insecure about the way he looks or whatever. But a lot of it will come down to what caring about what other people think.
yes, literally.
Do you actually, if you think about, we can talk about that, we're all dead in 100 years. Anyone watching this is dead in 100 fucking years. Are you going to be able to sit on your deathbed and not have done things based on what other people might think and think that's sound? And you won't regret it.
Yeah.
You're going to fucking badly regret things that you haven't done based on what other people think. And if you get to the end of your life and you're like, I could have done this, could have done that. Fuck that. That makes my toes curl. That fills me with anxiety thinking
fully.
that I wouldn't do something because some little fucking mink has something to say about me.
Fully. Some
I
wee
wake up-
insecure fucking negative cunt. Do sex.
We're not, but we're
wanna say
actually
something
no,
negative,
let me
cunts.
speak. Let me fucking speak. Let me finish.
Fuck you
We're
anyway.
actually, we've got like
Right.
not a lot of followers, right? We probably soon will in the next year or two. Not a lot yet, okay? But even for the followers we've got, I wake up and I have little chicken emojis to delete off of different posts and stuff. People like commenting chicken and all that. Teleport me in a room naked with that guy that's commenting that, and I'll make him eat his own fucking arsehole.
Let's see who lives. Let's see
I'm
who
not dangerous.
lives.
I'm not that dangerous. I know people that would make me eat my own arsehole. But you need to understand that.
Shout out Sean.
Yeah, shout Sean Lazzarini, fucking absolute monster. He'll be on the podcast very soon. This guy is a future world champion.
Right,
Fucking
yeah,
watch
let's
his
speak
space.
about like...
No, but I was going to say,
Yeah.
quickly,
Sorry, mate.
when it comes
Sorry,
to,
bro.
shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Sorry, guys.
When it comes to, you made me lose my train of thought. When it comes to hate come towards you, whether it's you speaking in front of a camera or you try to do things outside of the norms of the people you're around, hate will only come from below, never from above. People only want to see you doing good, but not better. As soon as you start to do better than them, that's when the hate comes. So when you actually experience any level of hate, you're doing the right things. You're fucking on the right track. You're growing past people around you. And that's, if you want to improve your life, that's what you're going to have to do. We had a big group, boys group of like 10, 15, 20 boys. And if I was to individually speak to all of them, I actually have a lot of love for all of them. But the priorities they have versus the priorities like say me and Kyle have just doesn't align. And it's not even a personal thing. It's about, if I look back in 10 years and sacrifice things I wanted to do just to still be friends or close to certain people, I would regret it. You need to make sure that you're making the disciplined decision, which will ultimately be the harder one. Like, I'd love to be with all my boys that I grew up with and all that, but if there's a decision I know I need to make to further better my position and where I'm trying to go and get closer to my goals, then that's going to fucking take priority over anything.
100%. But let's speak about, right, you've got those negative cunts, those little, and most likely, right, see the victims we were talking about at the start, that'll be those people. They can either not see the wee willy when they're pissing because they've got a big fat gut, right? Or they've got a horrible fucking... And I, like, when we speak about people that are fat and stuff like that, like, I understand that there's a lot of stress from external situations. You could lose family members and...
You're such a horrible cunt, Kyle. How could you call someone fat?
I'm showing a bit of empathy here. So you could be fat, right, because you've had stress in your life, right? And instead of taking heroin or going to drugs, you go to food, which is, like, I empathise with that completely, right? I empathise with someone that's had that happen to them and then can then take responsibility and make a change. But the point I'm trying to make is most likely see those negative people, the people that are like, oh, what they're doing is fucking gay, and what they're, oh my God, I can't believe they're speaking into cameras, da da da. They're the victims. They're the people that cannot even fucking, they couldn't even imagine posting a story talking because they'd be so insecure about how their wee fucking ugly face looks, right? How you deal with those people, right? Because if you're someone that's doing that and like even question, like this is what we're talking about, if you're questioning to do things because you're insecure based on what other people think, the best way to deal with these little weird fucking sad cunts, right? Some of them are probably bigger than me because I'm only 5'2". Feel sad for them.
That's why there's knives and guns though.
Exactly. That's why we've got Sean. I'll just phone Sean.
We'll get Sean Lazarini.
Feel empathy for them. Feel sad for these little fucking weirdos, because see when they wake up, right? And I asked Jack this question, and you probably noticed this. He completely blanked me, right? I asked them what a victim does in the morning, what these people do in the morning. They'll wake up, they'll scroll. Some of them might have a wank. They'll do a shit, put a hoodie on, probably put the hood up, right? Go for a warm shower, probably sit down in the shower. I fucking know that you probably sit down in the shower. If it's you I'm talking about, you negative cunt, you probably sit down in the shower.
You forgot they snooze their alarm.
Snooze their alarm, fuck yeah. That was
they might not even have an alarm.
Yeah, well that's it. There we go. They might wake up and it's fucking birds chirping and blue outside, right? But the point I'm trying to make is, I feel sorry for you. And if you're someone that's trying to do more, feel sorry for that person too. Feel sorry for the little sad fucking weirdo that feels they need to be that negative to you because their life is that negative. They can't even imagine doing what you're trying to do. So why would you let them affect you? Like, why would you dictate what you do, your actions? Why would you let your actions be dictated by these negative little fucking weirdos that have nothing else to do than comment chicken, comment thing? Like, there's this little fucking, not even naming people, right? But little skinny, you can see his spine through his back.
This little guy, I'd snap his arms backwards and use them as a fucking toothpick, mate. Rat bastard.
Good. Mate, honestly, you can see this guy's heart beating through his fucking back, right? So negative and fucking built up, right? And he, like, this kind of person, right, speaks down to people like me and Jack when we're just trying to do more. We're literally trying to do more than what we deemed was possible before.
And he's 27, still playing Fortnite,
chasing the dream,
with his legs curled up in a ball on his little computer chair, swaying left to right, smoking weed.
Do you know what I mean? So what do we do with the people like that? Do we go to their house and murder them? No, we don't. We feel bad for them. Feel empathy for them. How sad and fucked up his little life. He feels in such a fucking negative headspace to be negative to those people. And do you know what feeling empathy for that person does for us? We don't give a fuck about them. It doesn't change what we do. We're sitting here shooting a podcast. Oh my God, Jack and Kyle shooting podcasts. Imagine that. They're sitting fucking, who are they to shoot podcasts?
Imagine that was something you actually wanted to cringe at someone for.
Bruv, it's like they're fucking negative little freaks. So we'll feel sorry for them. That will not dictate our actions. We'll still shoot a wee podcast. There'll be some people that love us and we love you, getting enjoyment out of this. And that's why we're doing it. Because if one person can sit and watch this, either laugh, get some value, go away from this with something to use in their life that's actionable and they can actually benefit from. Yeah. That's why we're doing it. One person. And I know there's about 40 people right now, 50 people off the top of my head that I could name that will enjoy this content.
100.
But if we let those few little fucking weirdos, that guy that you can see his heart beating through his back and he's a little fucking ugly spotty cunt, if we let him dictate our actions, we wouldn't do this. And you amazing people that we love and you love us, you wouldn't get this right now because we let that negative person dictate our actions. The same way that you might be letting negative people dictate your actions. It's crazy. Your life is being dictated by people you don't even fucking care about. It's fucking mental.
To add as well, it's like everyone that's always had a negative opinion of me, after having met me or Kyle, have literally said, nah, I fucking never really used to like be fond of you or like you. But like now I've had conversations with you I think you're such a fucking class guy. You get so much good shit, blah, blah, blah. It's crazy how people's insecurities can build a negative opinion around someone, because obviously me and Kyle are not high and mighty. So many fucking people far, far above where we are right now. And that's the reason we're doing the podcast. You don't need to be a big famous fucking everyone knows me to do a podcast. You just need to have enough value to want to spread and help other people. And that's ultimately what More Life is. The whole mission for More Life, and the reason me and Kyle will combine forces, is because health and fitness is definitely a growing industry, and it's something that a lot of people have a lack of knowledge on. And if you want to live anywhere past 70 years old and still be able to wipe your own arse, still be able to run about and be functional, your health needs to become a priority. And that's why More Life is going to change so many fucking lives. It already has. The clients that lives that I've actually changed, without sounding all dramatic, that they would be in such a worse state without me or without Kyle. To imagine we're going to combine forces, it's going to be a fucking mental. So look out for that. But another thing I wanted to say as well is the reason me and Kyle are so confident calling people fat cunts, stiff cunts, this and that, is because we're talking to the people that are fat cunts and don't want to change. They're happy just being negative fucking people, letting out all this negativity and projecting their insecurities. The fat people or the out of shape people that are maybe have got into that state through a bit of depression, or maybe they've lost someone, or maybe they're just so unaware that they've just got to that fucking state where they're like, fuck. Those people will still want to change if given the opportunity. So if watching this or seeing a little post of mine or Kyle's on Instagram or whatever is the trigger for them to go, fuck, this guy could actually help me because I want to get better. They're the people that we're not talking about. The people we're talking about when we say fat loser, fat this, fat that,
Victims.
are the fucking victims that will project insecurities and negativity to try and mask their own horrible little fucking life until they get to a point where they're like, do you know what? I actually have been wrong my whole life. I've not got many good friends. The people I am friends with don't even actually have my best interests at heart, and that's why I'm a fat cunt. Like, it's crazy. So that's
What
why
does that come from though?
What?
How do they know that?
How do they know what?
What you just said there, like, oh, the people around, what do they do to find that out?
They reflect.
Self-reflection. It's
Yeah.
literally it's the number one thing that you can do to be self-aware. Well, completely, like, self-awareness is the fucking key to life. And obviously, I don't want to sound like Jordan Peterson here. I'm not going to start crying. But if you don't have self-awareness,
My death will start crying.
You're not.
I don't like seeing you like this.
If you're not,
I'm gonna cry.
wait a minute. Here, talk a minute so the camera goes off me. Talk a minute.
Sorry, Kyle got a bit emotional. I'm away now as well.
So if you don't be aware in life, you can never take control. To be a strong man, to be a warrior in a garden, than a gardener in a war. Nah, Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson needs to do some heavy bench press and sit-ups. But self-awareness is key, right? If you don't have self-awareness, you're not in control. And control is the main thing that you need to gain. Because at the moment, right, you're not in control of snoozing the alarm. You're not in control of grabbing the biscuit tin. You're not in control of getting better. And that's a fucking issue. When it comes to my clients, right, I've had multiple clients. And some people don't even like help themselves. Like Jack just said, I've had a client recently, right? And he sent me a paragraph, a fully blown paragraph. And he might not, he probably won't even watch this. He sent me a fully blown paragraph. And what was it? Blaming, complaining, justifying, victim behavior, right? And obviously I've worked with this person for 3 months. I'm very confident in my coaching, very confident in my ability to help people. And even my full intent, daily WhatsApps, weekly check-ins, seeing the person one-to-one, having chats with this person one-to-one, face-to-face, and he's leaving with fucking goosebumps on his back saying, oh my God, I'm so buzzing and like driven to do this, and then the next morning he snoozes his alarm. Next morning he actually told me that he woke up, went and ate porridge, went back into his bed to eat the porridge, finished the porridge and fell back asleep. Like after months of working. So there's some people that, me and Jack, when we're saying fat this, fat that, it can be taken brutally, right? Personally, we don't really give a fuck, but I don't want someone that is overweight and wants to help himself take that in a negative way and stop them from taking action. Because where you are right now, if you can take a little bit of responsibility, although you chose to deal with the stress by eating the food, you still ate the food, right? It's still your responsibility for picking the fork up, putting it in your mouth. And there's no empathy shown by me, by Jack to you. But what we do propose is take a bit of responsibility, take that first step towards becoming a better version of yourself, and that will give you an opportunity to become better. You can then reevaluate yourself, and people like Jack, people like me, we can help you get to that point. We have empathy. We want to help you. We actually have a passion to help people that want to help themselves get better. But the client I just spoke about there clearly doesn't want to help himself. And it's not my fault, okay, that my service didn't work. It's just because he's not ready to help himself yet. At some point in his life, will he? Maybe, right? But right now he doesn't want to, and you might be that person. But that's the kind of people that we don't fully respect in a sense, because if you can't fully take responsibility and it's everyone else's fault, like, you're never going to be anyone that can ever have a fully blown conversation like this. See, like, we just spoke brutally and honestly and open. You can't have that kind of conversation because it's never your fault. You get that wee fucking, I want to run away from the fact that it's my fault, and then you can never admit it. And until you die, you're not going to admit it. But it's important that you do, because if you don't, you can't fucking change for the better.
As David Goggins says, he would rather someone hate him and change than to love him and stay the same. And that's the same as me and Kyle. If I was brutally honest and I hurt your feelings, but that was the little driver to actually make you put down the cookies and start being a bit more disciplined, pick up and improve your life, I'm going to rather do that than you love me and be a fat, horrible bastard of a fucking human. Like, it's, and you think about I saw Lewis McFarlane saying on his story this morning, actually, it was like he had a guy message him and say he's got tits. It's like, see if a man has actual tits that you could cup in one hand.
A jiggle.
That is behaviour that is bad behaviour that's been consistent over the last months to years. That's not something that you don't wake up the next morning and have a set of titties as a man. So understanding that your actions have consequences, and if you don't want to have titties, you need to make sure that you're not just so unaware of what you're doing. Reflect on what you're doing, become aware, and then hold yourself accountable. That accountability obviously comes from people like me and Kyle. The More Life combined services, even just More Life Clinic, come to me for treatment, exercise-based work, rehabilitation, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't just include that. It includes mindset. I was going to say, we are creating a blueprint that will cover every aspect of your life when it comes to health, fitness, and recovery. When it comes to your sleep optimization, health optimization, mindset, perspective, in the gym, everything you need to do to optimize your life. And the crazy thing about this is that the discipline that you will build in your health and recovery will apply to every other area of your life. You will become more disciplined in keeping the house tidy, staying positive, all these little things that will just enhance and improve and optimize your life in every single aspect of it. It's not just that you come and you feel looser, less stiff, you get stronger, look a bit better. This will start to improve and optimize your discipline and life in every way.
Completely. And people like Lewis McFarlane, my boy.
Absolute fucking legend,
yeah, I love
bro.
Lewis, man. He's a fucking
Mr. The General of not missing,
yeah,
bro.
General not missing. But like,
Such
people at the present you, right? People like me, people like Jack, people like Lewis, straightforward people. Present you will hate us, right? But future you will love us, because the position future you will be in from the action you take now, life-changing. And it will be something you look back and love yourself for, and you love us for helping you and pushing you and allowing you to see the light, okay? Raise your level of frequency to enlightenment, to just be aware and like have love, have peace in your life, all that good stuff. Present you might hate it, because that's the discomfort we're talking about. Like, that change is discomfort. Like, that change is not comfortable when it's not supposed to be. Anything in life worth doing is not comfortable. It's not easy. Okay, anything that you want to attain, a six-pack, you see someone with a six-pack ripped out their cunt, they've not got that overnight. They've not got that through being comfortable. They've got that through being being in discomfort. Sorry. So yeah, present you will hate us. Okay, future you will love us, and that's what a lot of people need to start doing. They need to start living for future you. Right, so I'll let Jack talk about how you can make decisions now for future you, and what an example that would be.
Well, you just need to have a vision and goals to work towards. That's why I always saying about goals at the start. It's like acting now for future you, or is doing things that will compound towards what you want to be in the future.
What's
or what
an
you want to
example of doing
achieve.
that?
An example of doing that is knowing that week you have workouts to do, because in 6 months' time, there's summer coming up and you want to get in better shape and feel better and stronger. You will do those workouts that week because you know you might not look better after the week, but if you do that every week for months, you will then get to your desired outcome of looking better, feeling better, being better. For example, with your diet, if you're not going to want to have that visceral fat around your belly, that is not a bad thing unless you think it is a bad thing, then you can change it.
It's bad. It's really bad.
It's really fucking bad for your health, but it's not about like, oh, that's so bad you get visceral fat. It's more so, it's so bad that you've got such little discipline and self-respect that you've allowed yourself to snack continuously over a period of time to then have that visceral fat. It's not really the visceral fat that's bad. It's the reason that visceral fat is on your fucking, around your belly button is the problem.
Yeah, well, the problem is it's weeks and months and years of bad behaviour, disrespecting yourself and not being disciplined, right, for future you is a lack of, as we spoke about before, lack of self-respect. And it's actually those daily actions of disrespect towards yourself will never allow you to change in a positive way. It will always allow you to, or always cause you to be in a constant state of guilt, a constant state of shame, right? Which is such a low frequency. And Lewis McFarlane, again, it seems like I'm sucking his dick here, right? But he introduced me more so to laws of frequency and being in a contracted state when you've got shame, guilt all the way at the bottom, right? And you've got love, peace, you've got willingness, you've got all that kind of good stuff at the top. If daily you're disrespecting yourself, if daily you're not doing things for future you, right, you're not being disciplined, that is the worst way to treat yourself, and it's the easiest way to live a life that you're not proud of, to live a life that you feel guilty all the time, you feel constant states of shame, right, and then there's zero opportunity to get better. There's actually zero opportunity to reevaluate yourself, because that daily action, that daily disrespect towards yourself, it provides you with no evidence that it's even possible to become better, right? And that is important. You need to build the evidence, stack the undeniable proof to become a better version of yourself, because without that, self-doubt creeps in, right? You might be 2 weeks into doing good. You might be 2 weeks into actually acting accordingly with who you want to be in the future version of yourself. And that self-doubt will creep in because you've not got enough evidence stacked. Okay, you've not got that evidence to tell you, I can actually do this, and therefore you keep falling off the wagon, you keep hitting the fucking walls, and you keep getting defeated by the walls rather than taking a wee step to the side and going past them. So that was a good Instagram video, by the way. I'm going to clip that.
Really good. Clip that up. So I want to ask Kyle, what are 3 questions you could ask yourself to become more aware and then start to hold yourself accountable to then move forward in a better way? I'll go first. So question number 1, do I respect myself? Question number 2, do I value my time? And question number 3, did I say what I... 3 questions that you can ask yourself to then move forward in a better way starting today. 1, do I value my time? 2, do I respect myself? And 3, did I do what I said I would? If you can answer those 3 questions, do I respect myself? If you say yes, and there's things to show you in your life that shows that you don't respect yourself, then go back around to the honesty part. Are you actually being honest with yourself? Do you actually respect yourself? Because if you do, and you have goals that you haven't achieved that you know you maybe could have already, then you don't respect your goals. You don't respect what you're trying to become or who you want to become. So, do I value my time? Do I respect myself? And did I do what I said I would? Because 3 things that allow you to become more aware of self-respect, more aware of what you're doing with your time, and more aware of holding yourself accountable in doing the things that you actually said you would do. It's crazy. I've downloaded an app called Motion. It's an organization tool. Fucking however much pounds a month. Absolute pennies. When I put those tasks in on a Sunday night for the rest of the week, I can look each day with the times scheduled on the tasks I need to do. If by the end of the week I've not done those things, it's sitting there showing me I've not done the things I said I would. And that accountability to then just shuffle it into the next week or make sure I fucking do them that week is so important. Accountability is key.
Re-ask me that question.
3 questions you can ask yourself, or whoever's watching this could ask themselves to better their position. Well, starting today.
Firstly, you need to ask yourself, who do I want to be, right? And an exercise that I've done with clients on a call. I do weekly calls with clients just to jump on, speak of different things. This is one of the things we spoke about, and it was creating an avatar, right? Like an ideal version of yourself, because without knowing that, without knowing who you want to be, how does that person look? How does that person, what job do they have? Like, what are their actions? Do they have a morning routine? Do they go to the gym? Do they drink water? All those good things, right? What is the ideal version of yourself, which might right now seem unrealistic, but don't set any limitations. Use your imagination. Think about that ideal version of yourself, right? That's the first thing. Secondly, right, you then need to, on a daily basis, reflect on your day and ask yourself, did I act accordingly with that person? Okay, so question number 1, who do I want to be? Outline that. Okay, create the avatar, write it down. Okay, from appearance, job, like actions, habits, everything, right? Write it down. Second one, daily reflection. Did I act like that person? And daily reflection might seem unrealistic. So even every other day, at the end of each week, reflect and ask yourself, did I act accordingly with who I want to be, right? If it's a yes or no, that will give you an idea of if you're living to become better. If your answer is yes, I've smashed it all this week, ticked every box, then that's you getting better. That's proof of you getting better, right? Third one would be, why? Okay, so you need to know why. There needs to be a purpose. Anything you do in life, you need to know why you're doing it. Okay, so why do you want to have a six-pack? Why do you want to become more financially successful? Why do you want to have freedom? Why? Like, what is your reason why?
Even just get fitter, not even a six-pack.
Anything. Like, why though? Why are you doing it though? Because your reason why on days where you don't want to is what you need to relate it back to. Okay, so for example, right, I had a conversation the other day, and it was about, someone actually came up to me in the gym, right, and he just said, like, and I was having a conversation, he said, I think a lot of the motivation that I've got from you, not just because you've coached me, right, someone, it was my client that said this to me, he said, your daily posting on Instagram makes me feel accountable and makes me inspired to still take action when I don't want to, right? So when I can't be asked posting on my story and I'm being a selfish cunt, or like I don't never, but like if I'm being lazy with it, right, and I'm like, oh, it's easier not to, on a day where I can't be asked posting content or making a post, right, a reason why that I can relate to make that happen and still do the thing would be, there's that one person that could be inspired today. And if I don't post a story, that one person doesn't have that inspiration, which could lead them into not taking action, and it's not because I get responsibility of their actions, but that's just me showing an example of relating to a reason why to do something when I don't want to do it. So 1, who do you want to be? 2, daily or weekly reflection of, are you acting accordingly with that person? And 3, understand your reason why. Because if you've not got a reason why, on days where it's hard to do it or days where you don't want to, and there's no reason why, you're not going to do it.
Your purpose needs to be bigger than your problems. If you think about your purpose to get in better shape or get healthier, then the little problems on a daily basis you need to overcome and make the right decision on is eating the right things, working out every week. The little problems of like, do I eat that cookie or do I have a fucking meal of chicken and rice, just for example. Those little problems that you need to tackle on a daily basis, is your purpose bigger than those problems? And if you can logically say, yes, it is, obviously, of course it fucking is, then you will start to then become aware to make the right decisions. It's all about having the long-term perspective though, because it's so easy to live in the short-term, pleasure. That's why most people my age, most people in general go out every week, they drink, and it is class. I was doing that like years and years and years and years ago, but I was doing that in that little kind of loop, short-term pleasure kind of
Who are they
loop.
living for in that scenario?
Present them.
Who are they disrespecting in that scenario?
Future them. Honestly though, but that little short-term pleasure loop that you're in is class. But when you live in that little loop, and that loop is then broken by having to have kids when you're older, or handle actual real fucking stress that every human will need to go through if they're trying to get a house or this and that, that's when it comes down on you like a ton of bricks, and you're like, fuck, 20 years down the line, I've lived in this little short-term pleasure loop, and now I need to break out of it because I've got shit to handle. Why not handle this shit now and build yourself to handle even more in the future and have a much greater quality of fucking life? It's actually very simple if you're listening right now, and now I've put it into the perspective for you. But that short-term pleasure loop is all about the emotional response, that survival instinct. Avoid discomfort, seek comfort, avoid danger. And if we listen to that emotional reaction in our head, me and Kyle would be sitting right now with big fucking weird, horrible shaped bellies. But understanding that we don't want to look like that, and we know the effects it will have on our health and all that kind of stuff, we start to choose the more disciplined thing. And that's a big thing about this podcast. It's about informing a lot of people. So many things I say to my clients, whether that's about nasal breathing, which we'll get into further in the different podcasts, these little health tips and stuff, even like making sure that you're supplementing salt in your diet to stay hydrated, because people think it's all about just drinking water, which we'll get into. It's these little health tips and stuff that we want to try and push in the podcast, not just a little laugh and a bit of perspective and wisdom. It's things that you can apply to literally optimize your life in every way.
If you watch a podcast, a full podcast that we put up, right, and you don't take one thing away from it, please message me and Jack. We'll both give you £1,000 each.
One single
thing.
We just spoke back to back for like an hour, and you couldn't take one thing from this. Why?
One thing. So
why?
The purpose of this podcast is to give you something to take away. Is to give you at least one tiny little thing of, oh fuck. Like, whether it's question yourself or a little bit of wisdom, or at least, like, I'm not going to say take a wee laugh away from it, because that's fucking not really valuable, is it really? It can be, but...
See, even if you've watched this and you've not learned anything new, we've at least reinforced a lot of good principles and concepts that any successful person in life will need to reinforce daily or weekly to themselves anyway. So you might as well watch us chatting shit, good shit, not even chatting shit, speaking wisdom into the camera.
Sprinkled with a little bit of shit.
Yeah.
Give me one little second. I want to speak to this guy, right? This guy here, right? This guy says he's going to start on Monday. This guy says he's going to start on Monday, and he has said that for the last fucking year, right? And the reason why I want to speak to you, right? There might be a girl as well, but it's mostly you guys that are being fucking victims. If you are on Tuesday, right? Oh, I'm going to start Wednesday. Say it's midweek. Bit more of an excuse to start next Monday, right? Because it's halfway through the week. If you say you're going to start on Monday, right? And on Wednesday you say that. On Thursday, you take no action. On Friday, you take no action. On Saturday, you take no action. And on Sunday, you take no action. What makes you think that training your brain not to take action from Wednesday to Monday is going to allow you to start on Monday? Where does the sense come in? Please tell me the fucking logic behind that. If you're telling yourself, I'm going to start on Monday, I'm going to start in the new year, but between now and Monday, now and the new year, you don't do anything, you've trained your brain not to fucking take action, so it's actually going to be even harder to start on Monday or in the new year because your brain doesn't know any different. So what I suggest to you is, okay, if you say you're going to start on Monday, at least do one little thing each day so that you've built up a little bit of proof that you can do something before Monday comes, before the new year comes, because if you don't do that, trust me, you're not going to start. And the reason why I would speak to this guy, okay, one-to-one, is because it pisses me off. And you're only disrespecting future you. You not starting now is you serving present you and disrespecting future you. And that needs to fucking stop. If there's going to be real change made, you need to stop doing that, okay? Because future you is going to fucking hate for it. Present you loves it. Present you loves to just go, oh, start on Monday. But in reality, future you wants to fucking punch you in the face, okay, and you don't know it yet, but future you's looking back at you thinking, fucking hell, should have done something, mate. Now I can't see my wee willy when I'm pissing.
Ultimately as well, it's not about hating everything present you does. You need to live on a daily basis, enjoy your life. Like, I love my fucking life every single day.
That might be something that's taken wrongly. Like, people think we're just saying you need to act accordingly for future you all the fucking time. No, there needs to be present
pleasure. You need to live in the present moment, and there's so many things I do that don't push me forward at that given time, but gives me a sense of enjoyment and relief and stuff like that. You need to enjoy your fucking life. That is the whole point of life. Like, I saw a clip from that Jimmy Carr, and it was like, what's the meaning of life? Stephen Bartlett from Diary of a CEO asked him, and he said, enjoying the passage of time. He was like, 5 words, enjoying the passage of time. And when you think of that, when you actually...
So that's how he laughs. That's how he laughs.
I saw a clip from Jimmy Carr from the Diary of a CEO podcast by Stephen Bartlett, and he asked Jimmy Carr, what is the meaning of life? And he said 5 words, enjoying the passage of time. So you need to understand that although you're building things for the future, you need to enjoy your life on a daily basis. So give yourself those little pleasures that you enjoy, but make sure those pleasures are not bigger than the sacrifices you're making to build things long term, because nothing comes fast. You need to be in it for the long game. If you're thinking about living on a daily, weekly basis, don't expect to build anything for the future. Expect to live on a daily, weekly basis for the rest of your life. You need to sacrifice things that might take years to build, but you need to be aware of that, and you need to do that. We should probably summarize the podcast. So, summarizing the podcast, are you a victim? Do you complain? Do you blame? Do you justify in your life? And if you do, stop fucking doing it. Limiting beliefs. Do you have limiting beliefs? And if you do, is it based on your environment? Is it based on your insecurities? Is it based on caring about what other people think? Where do your limiting beliefs come from? Try to identify that so that you can move forward, and remember to be honest at all times.
And don't forget as well, we were those people. We did wake up before we pushed a wee job out our arse in the morning. We did smoke that half fucking smoked joint from the night before. We did go into bed absolutely stone cunted, wasted, couldn't even see straight because we were so encapsulated by vices, controlled by anxiety. So we've been there before, 100%. We're not speaking from a place of those kind of people that are controlled by stress are bad. We were those people. So
we're not looking down like fucking mink. Stop doing that shit. We done that shit. So that's the cool thing. You're hearing it from someone that was an emotionally controlled little fucking freak that used to do all the things we've just spoken about as being a victim, etc. But it's self-awareness, self-reflection and accountability that's allowed us to compound our efforts over time and become better human beings. And ultimately, if we do this for the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to have a much, much better quality of life and much, much better life than we would if we stayed little victims that lived in that short-term loop.
Coming up in the future podcasts as well, we're going to have different people on, from professional boxers, fucking #1 in the world, TIE fighters, different people, millionaires, like different
entrepreneurs,
people, entrepreneurs, from entrepreneurs to boxers, okay? And it's going to give us a variety of conversations to have. But the sole purpose of this is for you to have a little bit of value, for you to laugh a little bit as well, but more importantly, for you to understand who the fuck we are, okay? Like, this is a version of us that we don't tend to put out all the time because it's not as short form as you might see on a scripted video or a story, okay? Because they're a little bit less in depth. So it's giving you a chance as well to see me and Jack, see who the fuck we are, how we speak, how we laugh. Do you know what I mean? I've got a beautiful smile and then stuff like that. So you're going to see that.
That was gay.
Okay?
That was so gay, mate. That's not going in the podcast.
You're going to see this, okay? And it's going to give you an idea who the fuck we are. And I look forward to come back to listen to the next one.
In episode 2, we bare knuckle naked wrestle in the Bulletproof Studios gym area. So stay tuned for that. It's not happened yet, but I guarantee I'm going to win. If one of us don't die, you'll probably see an episode 3. See you soon.
Peace out, motherfuckers.